Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another pull workout. And sorry we've missed a couple workouts as far as getting them online, but we'll be back in the normal rotation of filming. Not going to get into the reasons why, but it'll be business as usual now. And I'm going to say up front, I might need to rotate pull-ups out and throw rows in for just a short time. My left delt is really, really hurting badly at the bottom of pull-ups. And it's partially once I started doing all the slightly higher volume of training, it feels like my shoulders are just getting overworked. And this is what comes back to people need to understand these big compound movements all work the delts. They all work the delts. The only reason you see guys who don't think that this stuff works delts is because they just don't do enough training. They're too weak. But trust me, guys, even your dips and pull-ups will build your shoulders. These press that I do is really icing on the cake. It's going to put a lot of size in your shoulder girdle. But to be honest, for most of you, if you don't want shoulders that look like you're on drugs, you probably don't even need to do other stuff besides your chest presses, like dips, pull-ups, rows, things like that. I mean, so let's be honest here. And I know coaches who don't program any direct delt work, who are out there who still have guys who have pretty big shoulders just from things like benching and rowing. So, people need to understand that. My delts are being destroyed, and I feel like I'm borderline overuse injury. It feels like it's just putting too much strain on my left delt. So that's what we need to remember. And while I'm an exercise minimalist in terms of exercise selection, that doesn't mean you don't rotate stuff in and out. In other words, when you start getting close to overuse injuries on a big lift, you sometimes need to find a substitute. Right? That does work things at a different angle so that you can avoid that. Doesn't mean you need to add it in. It means you swap it out. So while this shoulder is dealing with this and learning to accommodate the new volume, I might need a new training response for it, something that I haven't been training super hard and beating it into the ground with. Because let's be honest here, guys, I've done an enormous amount of pull-up work. But yeah, I'm struggling to even get fives today. And it wasn't lack of strength so much as it is my left delt just saying, okay, we've had enough of this. And it feels like the medial head. I can absolutely feel almost a cramping in the medial head. So I'll probably next pull workout swap in rows, maybe for a week or two, or even up to 3 weeks. Works the same basic muscles. I think the pull-up's a better exercise personally. And I always state that when asked. I think the pull-up is a better exercise than a barbell row. But barbell rows are a good exercise. I still program them for people. I still put them in programs. So I may need to do that. And we'll see if my shoulder calms down a little bit. And I think it will. It'll be fine. This is just warning signs for me that I'm close to a possible overuse injury. Which is how I hurt my bicep before, not paying attention to that many, many, many years ago. So you live and you learn. So I may need to swap rows in for just a little while and see if my shoulder acclimates a little bit, and I'll be able to continue to do all the pressing stuff, because that's going to be important to me. I don't want to have to cut that out. And it's one of those things that when you start having a nagging amount of inflammation that can cause overuse injuries on one lift, it will start carrying over to your other lifts if you're not careful. So I need to be acutely aware of that and take those precautions. And it actually stopped me from even getting my last triple, because I had to drop these down to triples instead of fives because my delt was hurting. But then it was throbbing on my last set after 2 reps, and I'm like, I could hurt myself if I try to pull this up, because I was feeling it entirely in my delts. Right? I have not felt a single one of these pull-ups in any muscle but my delts right now today. And actually, my last training session was the same. Feels like I'm doing a lateral raise. That's the only thing I feel is a side delt. No bicep, no back. And so we needed to call it quits. And then we went over and did deadlifts. And I decided to go a hair heavier today. We're going to work it up. Although I didn't set the hook correctly, which again, got to get back into the practice of doing the hook grip, don't we? Got to practice that hook grip. But it'll build up. At least without me setting the hook correctly, I grabbed a double with 425. So we'll keep building that up. And yeah, we'll get it above 500 for reps. Easily this year. Easily. And I'm hoping to pull 600 with a hook grip by the end of the year as I continue to lose weight. I have no idea what I weighed this morning, but it's back to full cutting, because I did eat a fair amount of food this weekend. Had a lot of delicious food. Didn't really go too overboard, but I did enjoy myself. But now It's back to plain food, fasted training. All right, everything else. Keep this cut going. Keep this cut going. And it didn't look like I really gained any fat this weekend to me. So everything's good. Everything's good. Keep moving forward. But I did weigh, I think, 218 yesterday. So picked up a couple pounds of water from a little heavier eating on the weekend. But yeah, those deadlifts, you notice I was struggling to hold on to it on that second rep, and that's just setting the hook. These hip thrusts, they're still going to take some work. And it has to do with, you guys notice my bench is taller than average. The same thing I complain about with this bench for the bench press. It's hard to set up the way you would in comp because it's taller. And so I run into that same situation of there's no way for me to physically hold onto the bar, getting the bar into place on these hip thrusts. Did you notice right there at the bottom of these? You see me at the bottom of each rep? That would actually probably be touching the floor if I was on a normal height bench because I'm a couple inches away, but I can't quite reach the floor without sliding off this taller bench. So again, eventually I'm going to think about it. I might need to invest in an actual proper bench for doing my hip thrusts. But in the meantime, I'm going to work with them the best that I can. And, I had someone actually make the statement of you need to hold them at the top. And it's like, I'm sorry, but if you look at anything biomechanics related, reducing weight on any exercise so that you can squeeze a contraction at the top tells me that a person doesn't know anything about training, that they only listen to bodybuilders using enormous amounts of drugs. Well, guys, I'm not on 2 grams of test and growth hormone. So giving me advice that's geared towards that is really, really, really stupid. I'm sorry, but it is. Reducing weight on any lift so that you can hold a peak contraction, but you're reducing the workload through the dynamic part of the exercise is so butt fucking retarded that if you actually say something like that, you don't ever train another person. You're not qualified to train anyone but an IFBB pro at that point with their silly shit, their genetics and their drugs. It doesn't matter how you train. You're going to reduce your training response. I'm dumbfounded that in 2019 people would make such asinine statements. You're going to reduce the tension during the dynamic part of an exercise so that you can focus on an isometric contraction. Bad enough people do it on single joint exercises. When we're talking about compound movements, are you serious? Sorry, you guys are going to get a bit of a rant from me on that because I'm in awe at the stupidity. God, I hate bodybuilders. Sorry, I have to say it, but they're stupid. They really are. They're stupid. Bodybuilders are fucking stupid. God, they're the most stupid demographic of lifters. Like, they can't even understand basic biomechanics sometimes. They're just that ignorant. And they don't seem to realize that if they didn't have access to all those drugs, they would be so tiny. They would be so tiny. Most of them would weigh 150 pounds. And it's stupidity like that. Sorry, but I got a rant on that. And yeah, I know that my hip thrust needs work, and there's things I need to do to learn the motor pattern better here. But anyone telling you to reduce weight on any exercise in order to have an isometric contraction, they better be pumping you full of drugs to go with that. Because if you're drug free, you're going to reduce your training response. That's going to recruit less muscle fibers. There is no scenario that I can think of where recruiting fewer muscle fibers is ideal for muscle growth. I mean, sheer stupidity. God, sorry, you guys are going to have to hear my rant. I can't stand that level of ignorance, and this whole community perpetuates it. But yeah, there's more work that I need to do on these. There's a lot for me to learn on this as far as my setup. And a lot of it has to do, I need to get a better bench eventually. I'm going to make do with what I have for now. But I'm not going to increase weight, though, until this cleans up. I think that's the heaviest weight I'm going to work with. And then we did our cheat curls. They went well today. I think my biceps look a little bigger today, actually. People noted that last time. They're like, what, is that a bicep vein you're doing the curls? Yeah, it is. I know. It's not bodybuilding, though, guys. Please don't say that. This is a compound movement using body English to work my biceps a little more. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.